Happy New Year. It is Dani Valent and I am back with you for another year of Dirty Linen. I'm really happy to be rejoining you for another year of conversations. Today, you've just got me. I just wanted to check in and say hello, restart the conversation. I mean, do you feel like we're having a conversation? Because I do. I meet so many people that listen to the show and it always feels like we're sitting back down. It doesn't feel like we're encountering one another for the first time. But of course, I also know that I don't know most of you and most of us never physically meet. That's fine. That's the medium. But I hope you do feel that we're in touch. And also, please know that I'm always happy to hear from you. What are you loving? What could have been better? What would you love to hear? I'm always happy for suggestions. Well, 2026, what a year, what a time. It already feels big. I reckon I'm an optimistic person. I think I'm lucky that my cup is usually more than half full. I always feel like I'm heading back to a kind of equilibrium, and I'm really grateful for that because I think it's honestly just luck. But I have been feeling pretty dark and troubled, I have to say. Just around the last time that I recorded the podcast was the time that the terrorist attack happened in Bondi and 15 people were killed. I think everybody was shocked by that. It was a national and even an international outpouring of grief and shock and just incomprehension. A lot of you probably don't know that I'm Jewish. It's a really important part of my identity, and I'd say in the last few years that has only become more clear to me. You can go all the way back to the first months of Dirty Linen. In July 2020, I had a chat to my dad, who is a psychiatrist, a traumatologist. He's now 87, and he is a Holocaust survivor. He was a boy in hiding during the Holocaust in Hungary. He came to Australia when he was 11. I just had a little look at that podcast chat we had in July 2020, and it was about the pandemic, and it was about trauma, and it was about feelings of survivor guilt. He also talks about his own story. He talked about his own development of his own thinking, which happened a lot during the 1983 bushfires in Victoria. Working with people and in communities during that period really helped my dad develop a lot of his thinking around trauma and how we come through it as individuals and communities. I'll put a link to that chat in the show notes. I'm gonna enjoy having a re-listen as well. Had dinner with my dad last night and the rest of my family, and I still feel so fortunate that circumstance led to him surviving the Holocaust and giving me a fantastic life in Australia. Just one other way that I do feel very lucky. But yeah, it was interesting just reflecting on that. He was talking about the bushfires. And of course, just this week in Victoria, we're still in the midst of some really distressing fires. It's just so awful. It brings back a lot of memories of other fire seasons and a lot of the frustration around the inaction around climate change, which makes these fire seasons so much more devastating. And for so many farmers, it is calamity on top of calamity. The energy to rebuild is, where do you get it from when you're just battered again and again? Of course, I mentioned farmers, but I'm talking about definitely farmers, and I'm so grateful to farmers, but all communities in the regions and in the cities, we're all impacted by this. One thing that I want to do more of in the podcast and in my writing is to connect the dots between some of these issues around climate and social justice and development and politics and the kinds of conversations we have. I think, I've said before, and I'll say it often, that one of the reasons I love working in and around food, or, telling stories in and around food, is that I truly feel that food cuts across every important topic. It is there in history and culture and religion, it's environment, it's politics, it's justice, it's immigration, it's tax policy, it's roads and transport, it's definitely housing, it is community. Everything is in there. Technology, some other big words that I've forgotten, but I think you can have any kind of big important conversation and tie it to food or put a food lens on it. It's one of the reasons I know I'll never be tired of working in and around food, hospitality, people, because everything is there. So I want to have some big conversations because these are big topics and we're all engaged with them, whether we think about it or not. I want to join some dots. If you think you've got dots to join with me, then get in touch. I'm always interested in having conversations with people who are thinking about similar things or who want to push me on some of these topics, any of these topics. Like, I want to have my mind opened. I am curious. I'm ready to be changed. There's some big stuff. I guess the new year is a time to look back, also to look forward. I didn't get around to one of those ins and outs posts. Anything, I didn't really get around to looking at trends that I want to see the back of and things that I want to see in the future coming along on the horizon. But I thought what I would do is talk about a few restaurants that I loved visiting over the past year here and overseas, and maybe talk about some of the things that they point to. So let's do that. I was in Mumbai last March and I went back to Sri Taka Bhojanalaya, which is a pretty famous and popular Gujarati thali place. So Gujarat is the enormous state in the north west of India, north of Maharashtra, where Mumbai is, and there's a lot of Gujarati food in Mumbai. Thali is the tray meal where you sit down and you've got a tray with lots of little dishes, and they can be refilled as you wish. Sri Taka Bhojanalaya is a family place. The waiters come around. It's very seasonal. They just make what they make and you get what you get. It's vegetarian. It's really great. It's just busy, fun. The food is delicious. They have this incredible bread basket with all kinds of different grains. So I really love the millet bread. I like the fact that sweet and savoury go on the plate together, that you eat with your fingers. There's no wrong. The waiters are barefoot and come along with these big pots of food that they will spoon onto your tray until you beg them to stop. It's a really special place. I was fortunate to be in Paris towards the end of summer and the Euro summer, and went to Aux Deux Amis, which is a set menu place in Paris. And we had the owner on the podcast, so I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. It's a classic wine bar. I mean, modern classic. It's a modern classic wine bar. Natural wine, a set menu. But I think it's the set menu side of things that I really wanted to talk about, because I think I love it. I love that format. It's so relaxing and fun. It leads to things being more seasonal and it's less wasteful. So just give me a couple of choices, or even don't give me a choice. Just put the food in front of me and let me trust you. I just love that style of eating. I will talk about, in fact, yeah, I love seeing that in Australia. I think it's something we are seeing a little bit more. The other restaurant I wanted to talk about was La Trattoria Famiglia Morello, which is a place in Messina in Sicily. I did a travel story late last year for Gourmet Traveller, and it was going on a cruise from Barcelona to Istanbul. Yes, don't hate me. It was good. Yeah, great food, amazing. Just an amazing ship with beautiful staff, great food on board and off. And we didn't have much time in each place. That's the nature of cruising. So we just focused on a great lunch, a great snack, and going to a produce market. We ticked off all those things in Messina in Sicily. The restaurant, which more or less stumbled upon, it's a beautiful 50-year-old family place. Again, it's what there is a short menu, but you can also just feed yourself from the buffet, and it's just beautiful seasonal. Sensitive, heartfelt Italian food in a cave-like room. Actually, the power had gone out, so it was slightly more cave-like than it might be at other times, but just mustard yellow walls, lots of knickknacks and art everywhere. And Signora Morello just overseeing everything with a keen, caring eye. I loved that. It was great. So moving to Australia. So here are some big ticket, slightly upscale restaurants that I've really enjoyed over the past year. I'm going to talk first about Chauncey, which is a regional restaurant in Heathcote, and one of my favourite meals of the year. Now, this is a set menu restaurant, so they'll accommodate dietaries to some degree, but basically you are on for the ride. Something I really loved about Chauncey was the fact that they have continued to make the experience more intimate and reduce the number of seats, and just really leaned into this idea of welcoming people for an experience that has been incredibly well thought through. Most of the produce grown on site. You're really there in a home, and the food is very expressive of the region. I think it's a really nice balance of French cooking and Australian produce. It's really anchored in a number of traditions, like that French hosted table way of doing restaurants, way of doing dining, but also it's very much anchored in its own property because so much of the produce is grown there and comes from farmers close by. And as I'm talking about it, I'm just thinking about our ecosystems and our commercial networks of small farmers and small restaurants and how utterly valuable that is. And, it's the kinds of networks that fires and floods, natural calamities, really can disrupt in such a sad and heartbreaking way. Chauncey is close to the current fires, but it wasn't directly impacted. I'm sure the air is smoky, and I'm sure they know people who have been more directly affected from these fires. But this is just these fires. This is really something we're in the midst of. Okay, let's land back in Melbourne. One of the big openings of last year was Yaga, so Hugh Allen's restaurant that has been thoughtfully created in Fitzroy Gardens in Melbourne. What a place! It just sits in the park. It's a brave restaurant because it's a restaurant that asks you to trust it. You are there for their experience, but it's so intuitive. I love the service. I love how it's it has a lot of intent, but it is fun and lighthearted, warm-hearted, intuitive, observant, responsive. It's how you want to feel in a restaurant, I think, which is full of trust, which allows you to be open. And sitting in that room, it's all earth toned, looking out into the green Fitzroy Gardens. There's a almost suspension of time that occurs. You watch the light change. The food comes in a progression of small courses. There's a story to everything. The drinks matches were incredible. Yeah, it was really beautiful. Definitely a special occasion one. As is Chauncey. These are the kinds of restaurants that you might save up for a whole year. And I think they feel that trust. People go to these places for special occasions, and they'll repay your trust with a great experience. I want to talk about Chez La Nou. So I think Chez La Nou, which is in Port Melbourne, Ronnie Parenti's life work, really. So I think Chez La Nou, which is an experience as well as dinner, speaks to something that I reckon is going to be more and more of a trend, and that is that people want not just something to eat, they want an experience. They want to be taken on a journey. So Chez La Nou does that very explicitly. Like, it's dinner and a show. It's very interactive. There are how many seats? About 30. And you're seated at one long table. It's you can't help but speak to the people around you, and there's a lot going on. There's dry ice, there's music, there's there's fire, there's bubbles, there's goggles, there's headphones. There's a lot going on, and I would say I'm not that interested in that kind of experience generally. I really do just love dinner and give me a nice glass of wine and a good mate or someone I'm getting to know, and or my boyfriend or one of my kids, and I will be, I'm so into that classic type of dining experience. But I was really charmed and transported by Chez La Nou. It is so optimistic. It is so much about the joy of being together, the joy of expression. And people just absolutely loved it. And I think everybody walked out feeling better about humanity, about what's possible, about the joys of being together. And I think, if a restaurant can do that, then it's great. It's a big win. So I've just mentioned a few pretty expensive places. So let's just talk about some other ones. These are a bit random, but I just thought, what have I loved? And I want to mention Kare by it's Akiko Asano's Japanese curry house. The motto is made by warm, and it's so good. Maybe January isn't the month where you naturally think about Japanese curry, but it's a really cute place right by Vic Market, and I noticed, I tend to somehow be drawn to places that are owned and run by female operators, often immigrants. And so Akiko falls into that beautiful bucket, as does Regal, Tinee Suntivatana, who is has been a guest on the podcast. She is a Thai Australian entrepreneur who has a whole bunch of restaurants, but I just want to shout out Regal for its ambition and she offers, I think, a lot of opportunities for people to learn and grow in her teams. I think she's someone that perhaps is a bit under the radar but should get a lot of attention. I was at Gerald's bar on the weekend. Gerald is also Gerald Diffey, a previous guest on Dirty Linen, and I just loved it. Gerald and I started a semi-drunken conversation. I don't know. But anyway, we started a conversation that I would love to continue with him on a podcast soon, just around the quote unquote hospitality industry and what is it? I think things are changing, things are broadening. These conversations have to. I believe that people in Dandenong and Coolaroo and Truganina, whatever, like they work as hard as anyone and they put as much on the line and they have as much to say in a food sense as anyone in North Carlton or the city. I'm in Melbourne. Did you guess? You could be anywhere, any of our big cities in Australia or around the world. Like there's so much to explore and there are so many different communities and cultures to get to know and to understand through food, because it is a great way to bring people together. It's a cliche, but it's true. And I honestly feel that it is my life's mission to create or to enable understanding and to help people tell their important stories, even if they don't think they're important. I just want us all to get to know one another more, to love one another more, to be real with one another and to be curious. I think curiosity could get us a long way. Guys, I am so happy to be back in your ears. Thank you for being with me. I love it. I've almost been a bit nervous to get back on the mic because, I have all these big thoughts and feelings swirling around, but who better to share them with than you? I will be back in your inbox soon. Thanks for listening. This is Dani Valent. I send you my wholehearted love. This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinenat deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.